Okay, committee, we do have a quorum, so we're going to continue. We have a lot of work before us. The delay, apologize, we did wait for adjournment in order to get started. Now that we're here, we will continue with the hearing with Robin Marks for Board of Tax Appeals. Committee, there's been some back and forth on emails and other issues that have gone on, and so we are going back to the conferee, the appointee himself, and if we have any questions for this individual, and that's where we will continue this hearing, and that's where we will end this hearing. So please, Mr. Marks, do you have any, good afternoon. Do you have any comments for us? If not, committee, do you have any questions for Mr. Marks? Senator Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Marks, thanks for going through this process. Just a final comment, I guess. One more time, could you go over the fact of why you feel you're not conflicted having represented both counties and private big box owners in consideration you to do this job as appraiser, judge on the BOTA? Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I think it goes to Johnson County case, the 5 Walmarts that actually 3 Walmarts, 2 Sam's Clubs. That was in 2019. That's the first time, the only one time I praised for Johnson County Appraiser's Office in the last 10 years. In that same year, 2019, I was hired by Lowe's Counsel out of New Jersey to appraise their stores in Johnson County. It's the same valuation. I follow the rules. Lowe's settled, Walmart didn't. I do my job according to the law. So I don't see that that's a specific client conflict in Johnson County. If I understand there's some 1,000 cases up on docketed cases, I don't have any cases going in Johnson County with the assessor. I don't have any taxpayer at this time either. I do have one case in Wyandotte County pending. So I'm in the business to do real estate appraisals. Okay, so I don't see a conflict. Now, if that same Walmart case comes in front of me, I think I have to follow the judicial. I'll be a judge, and I'll follow the judicial guidelines on conflicts. And I can tell you this: that I'll be 70 years old. I'm probably the oldest person in the room. 3 years from now, I'm not going to go hustling county work. So I don't see any current or prospective conflict from client's perspective.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Final question. Have you ever been professionally cited for misconduct or anything like that, or conflict of interest, and if so, how were those resolved?
Never in my 46 years in the business.
Senator Steffen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate your time today. I'm a board-certified anesthesiologist, and I'm convinced that I know everything there is to know about it. And as such, there's things I'd like to change with some of the process on how things are done. What in the appraisal codes would you like to see changed at this time? Is there any policies that you feel that should be changed, or that you've lobbied to change, or have a passion about? Thank you.
Well, I think it's awfully hard to get the younger people interested in the business and pay their dues to get up to speed. So I think we're running into a shortage of state certified appraisers certainly out in the rural markets. in this, there are very few colleges that'll provide the training, so that's I think in education of the community is something I needs help. I don't have a solution other than we train in-house. We have a couple trainees right now. There are a lot of theories out there. I've seen them come and go. I call them fads. I just kind of stay in my lane. I'm kind of immune to that kind of pressure. I've seen it too many times in my career. I've seen several cycles. I've seen mortgage fads. I've seen appraisal fads. I've seen a lot. But at my age, I don't feel like I have to promote anything. People trust me to do it right the first time.
Any other questions? Senator Alley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, we're having, like you mentioned, a shortage of appraisers and a shortage of qualified appraisers and a shortage of qualified people to be on the board of tax appeals. One of the things that was brought up in this morning's hearing was passing the test or taking the test. What is your opinion of taking the test to qualify for Board of Tax Appeals members?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Should a prospective board member pass a uniform standards of appraisal? Because there's uniform standards includes real property, mass appraisal, tangible personal property like equipment, and business. So there's quite a spectrum. There's 10 standards.
The test that you had to take to become an appraiser, what is the requirement to be a Board of Tax Appeals judge? Do they have to take the test? Do they have to pass the test?
It's my understanding that they all have to take 30 hours in order to get the full judgeship. Of course, I can hit the road running day one because I've got the experience, training, education for that. Should they take a test? Probably a good idea to know the basics.
You have no basis, you ought to be competent in the appraisal world. So what is passing on that test? What would if you take the appraisal test, what is passing?
And this is again for real property appraisal. Well, I would think 75% would be a minimum.
Is there a standard for what that is? Is there a standard for what passing is?
I believe there is, but I'm not current with the requirement at the Kansas Real Estate Appraisal Board.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may, Senator, the reason he's asking this question is those exams are part of completing your final checklist for being on the Board of Tax Appeals. So he's just asking about those tests because current statute says you only have to complete the test. It doesn't say you have to pass them.
I'm pretty sure I quiz out.
Okay, thank you. Committee, any other questions? I have one. Your application was submitted prior to this committee and withdrawn. Do you have any comments on that?
Not really.
Okay. Committee, the packet for the confirmation hearing prior was handed out also. Are there any other questions for this conferee? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll close the appointment hearing on Robert Marks, and thank you. Oh, if you would like closing remarks, please.
I want to go back to your last question. You know, it's been about a year now since I was first appointed, and COVID hit, and boy, it's just, I don't know where 2020 went. In many ways, it was drug on, and then in many ways, it just I don't know where it went. That, I wanted to comment that.
Thank you. Committee, anything else? Thank you. We'll close the hearing on Robin Marks. Thank you. Committee, we're going to pick up work on Senate Bill 50 at this time. We'll come back. Amelia, would you give us an overview? Thank you. On Senate Bill 50?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
when will we be voting on the nomination?
I thought I would dispose of the bill first, but if you guys want to dispose of the nomination, let's do that. Let's go ahead and do that. Is there, committee, what are your wishes on the nominee? Senator Baumgardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This noon, while I was in Judiciary, I received an email, and all of you received an email, and it was an email that was sent by Scott Allegrucci, Office of the Governor, Director of Appointments. Usually don't think too much about those emails, but I will tell you that as I scanned through it, I was surprised to see my name included in the email. Not as being sent to, but the content of the email. For those of you that haven't read that email, I will simply share with you. Last paragraph. And a former colleague of Mr. Marks and a former member of the Kansas Real Estate Appraisers Board, retired appraiser Jack Shelton, sent an email to Senator Baumgardner yesterday regarding the appointment of Mr. Marks to the BODA. It seems like information that the entire committee might like to read, and a copy is attached. Thank you, Scott. Here's the problem. I did receive an email from Mr. Shelton. Hadn't read the email yet because it was sent last night. It was sent to only me. It was sent to me, and it was addressed Senator Molly Baumgardner. It was sent to my legislative email and my private legislative email that I keep as a part of my campaign and other correspondence. There was no CC to this email. It was sent to me. I think that it is quite chilling that correspondence that is sent to me with regard to a recommendation for a position that we are to vote on is then shared by the Office of the Governor, the Director of Appointments, to all committee members. I have never spoken to Mr. Shelton, nor have I ever spoken to Mr. Allegrucci. I did respond to Mr. Allegrucci, and I CC'd all of you because you'd been CC'd and provided a copy of an email sent to me. Only seemed appropriate to keep you in the loop. But to be clear, it is grossly inappropriate and an absolute breach of professionalism to have the Director of Appointments for the governor of this state to take a piece of email that was sent to me, don't know how he got it, but he did, and to send it to my committee chair and my committee members. You know, if I want to share email, I can. That's my privilege. It's my right. But how someone got into my legislative email or my personal email to get that letter, I simply want to say that the actions of the appointment director, I believe they have clearly tainted this particular appointment process. There is no situation whereby those actions should ever be tolerated or condoned. And Madam Chair, I do move that the Committee on Assessment and Taxation report to the Senate without recommendation regarding the appointment by the Governor of Robert E. Marks as a member of the State Board of Tax Appeals pursuant to KSA 74-2433 to fill a term expiring January 15th, 2024. I don't know how this came about. Quite frankly, don't care at this point. It is unprofessional and absolutely unacceptable, and I will never condone the appointment of someone whereby this little fancy business was used via state technology.
Thank you, Senator. Is there a second on the motion? Senator Steffen. It's been moved by Senator Baumgartner, seconded by Senator Steffen. Any discussion on the motion? Senator Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually going to support the Senator Baumgartner's motion. I don't understand the background of that. I am too. If I were in her shoes, I would be very upset. I personally, I don't know what was the reasoning or rationale, nor am I going to try to make excuse for it, because I saw that just like everybody else. But I do think her motion is appropriate. I'm going to go back to Eric Stafford of the Chamber of Commerce. He really did this nominee a massive disservice when he sent out that packet of materials. And I don't know if he thought he was going to have to answer to that, but when you look at him doing that and not coming before this group and saying that his clients, okay, had outstanding cases before BOTA, and he doesn't reveal that to us. Now, he's a lobbyist, and I know lobbyists, they could tell you the sky is orange and it doesn't matter. And that's their prerogative. They do not have an ethical duty right now to declare that. But I think he did this, and whether you support his nomination or not, the problem is Mr. Marks got screwed on this deal, because Mr. Stafford never had to completely answer that packet he gave us. And that will always cast doubt in the committee's mind, and rightly so, was Mr. Marks the man to do the job? So I'll leave it at that. I'm going to support the Baumgartner motion that we put it out without a recommendation. And I will let the committee know I am going to take Mr. Stafford to task on the Senate floor when this nomination comes up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a law. Well, a bill. I'm getting carried away now. I'm going to introduce a bill that basically says if you are a lobbyist, if you are going to basically lobby an issue before a legislator, and you know that your issue impacts an outstanding case in a court, then you have a duty to disclose that. Because let me tell you, I've had other constituents like bills before insurance and other business-related committees. And the first thing out of a committee chair's mouth when I would go to that person and say, hey, what's the status of this? What's your, conferee's issue or whatever? The first time you start talking about if there is a lawsuit in the process of being filed, they will run away from that bill like a scalded cat. Because anyway, I'll just shut it down.
I'm going to have
Thank
to
you. I'll stop.
rein you in and put you on the appointment because we are about to lose 2 committee members.
I'm sorry. I'm done.
So thank you very much. Committee, any other discussion on the nominee, on the motion? Senator Kluse, on the motion.
Yes, can you just please repeat that and what's happening?
The motion, yes, absolutely, Senator. So what has happened is we have 3 choices as a committee on our recommendation. We can recommend favorably, we can recommend disfavorably, or we can move out without recommendation. And the motion was to move out without recommendation. So that's what the committee will be voting on in that motion. Yes. Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion, nay.
Say nay. I'm only just because I don't disagree with the senator's frustration. I just don't feel it appropriate to take it out on the nominee who I'm very confident had nothing to do with the transgression the senator is upset about. And that's my reason. I don't need to be recorded. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, committee. Motion passes. Committee will turn your attention now, and I'm sorry, I'm going to try to keep you on topic because we do have quite a bit of business, and I'm trying to get these 2 back to the other committee. So thank you. Committee, I'll turn your attention to Senate Bill 50. Amelia, would you mind giving us an overview?
Certainly. Madam Chair, members of the committee, Senate Bill 50 relates to the collection and remittance of certain taxes and fees and would require the collection and remittance of sales tax, compensating use tax, transient guest taxes, and the prepaid wireless 911 fees by marketplace facilitators with sales subject to tax in excess in the state in excess of $100,000 in the previous calendar year.
Committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Baumgardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have an amendment.
Thank you. Do you mind passing it down?
I do not.
Would you like to describe your amendment?
Yes, and it is a simple amendment. We're adding one word. The word is hotel in 3 different places on page 1. So that would be on line 31, 32, and 35. So we are striking out lodging establishment, and we are specifying that it be a hotel.
Thank you, Senator. Do you want to move on your amendment?
I move my amendment.
Thank you. Is there a second on the amendment? It's been moved by Senator Baumgardner, seconded by Senator Kirshen. Discussion on the motion. Senator Holland.
Very briefly, just describe here a little more, by going from lodging establishment to hotel, what are we attempting to do?
We're making,
Baumgardner.
thank you, Madam Chair. We're making it clear that we're talking about a hotel. We're not talking about other type of lodging establishments.
Okay, and this is with the concern to some particular concern about that. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I might add, this was something that came up during the hearing.
It did come up during the hearing, and it's clarifying so that all parties would be responsible for taxes. Yes. Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Senator. Any other discussion on the bill? Senator Alley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have an amendment. I think I need to explain the amendment. I'll pass it out. And on the back page, the amendment on line 21, prior to, instead of January, we insert the word July. And also on 27, we do the same thing, insert July. However, I have had conversation with the lobbyist for Verizon. There are 6, I believe, is that correct, facilitators that can make, was it 6 that can make can make the original date?
Deadline, yes.
And Verizon is the one that would ask for this movement. Is that correct?
No, it's Amazon.
Amazon, excuse me, is the one that came up and asked for this move. We've had conversation about this on numerous times. We came back and they have now said they can make April instead of July. So the question was asked, what product makes the 911 fee? It's not the cell phone, it's the card. So the question I asked was, can they sell the phone through them and not the card until they get their system up and running? And the answer that I got back was, no, it takes the same amount of programming to change, to not sell the card as it does to try to fix the problem. So we'd like to have him come up and explain.
Senator, it is unique, but we will allow, because this bill is very important. The legislature has been attempting to put language in for at least, I would say, 4 or 5, 6 years, if you start prior to Wayfair. So yes, Matt, would you come up and give that discussion? It is legislation that both sides agree we need. We're just not there on the details of the legislation yet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Matt Hickam with Hickam Public Affairs, representing Amazon.com. I know this is highly unusual during the working of a bill, so I appreciate the opportunity to clarify. Yes, Senator Alley and I have had numerous conversations about the importance of moving the date that would require a marketplace facilitator to collect E911 fees from the January 2022 date to July of 2022. Amazon, as right now, is not confident that they will be able to collect those 911 fees by the January 1, 2022 date. And they feel that they would be able to by the July date. Now, in the past week, they have determined, with similar legislation as this in Florida, that they have negotiated, they think they might be able to do it in April rather than July. And so, what we would be amenable to moving the ball that way rather than with this amendment that was drafted before that Florida agreement was struck.
Committee, I'm going to make a point here, Matt. You guys, Amazon chose not to testify on the bill.
They testified written.
Yes, written only. So this is a unique circumstance, but I would ask if any of the committee members have a question for you at this time. Are there any? Senator Steffen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Simple question. How come 6 big entities can make the deadline and the biggest entity can't? That's frustrating.
Thank you, Senator. I can't comment on how other companies work and their marketplaces and how they're set up. I will just state that Amazon is not just a company that operates in the United States. It operates worldwide in many jurisdictions and countries all over the world. And to make a change such as this to collect a specific fee rather than sales tax, they're ready to go. But this specific fee would require much more programming than they feel like they are confident to implement by the January date.
Any other questions? Senator Al.
Matt, as we talked earlier, if we move this to the later date, does that mean that the 911 fee does not have to be collected by the other 6?
No, that would not. I could leave this up to the reviser if you'd like to comment, but it's my understanding that a marketplace facilitator could collect the fee earlier if they chose to and remit it to the Department of Revenue, but they would definitely have to do it by that particular date that is in the bill.
But is there something that would require, if we move the date when it's required, they really don't have to?
Correct. There would not be in the law a requirement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Baumgardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matt, share with us. So we're talking January to maybe April. What would be owed? What does Amazon estimate would be owed for a payment of the prepaid wireless 911 fees?
I don't have those specific amounts. I'm sorry.
Amazon has to know.
I don't know at this point.
Madam Chair, my only concern, and I've shared this before, we are very dependent on 911. And it doesn't operate on its own. It doesn't operate on its own. We are FCC.
Finish with questions
Yeah.
now. So-
FCC is going to be moving us to a different number, and that's going to be for the hotline for suicide prevention. It's imperative that we are able to collect the fees.
So, committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Alley.
I'm not sure I made the motion.
You did not.
Okay,
Just
thank you.
handed out the document.
I handed out the amendment, and I would like to move my amendment favorably for passage.
Would you like to leave it July or
Leave it the way the amendment says.
July? Okay. Committee, is there a second on the motion? The motion dies for lack of a second. Okay. Committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Baumgardner. Senator,
We don't have it in writing, but can we amend it, Madam Chair?
we do accept conceptual amendments.
Change the date to April is my motion.
Okay. Is there second on the motion? Okay, it's been moved by Senator Baumgartner, seconded by Senator Kirshen to change the date to April. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say aye. Okay, all those opposed say nay. And I think it was 3-2. Am I correct? Okay. So the motion passes. Is that no division or, okay, 3-2, motion passes. Committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Holland.
I'd like to move the bill out favorably for passage as amended. I want to make a comment at the appropriate time, Madam Chair.
Okay, you've heard the motion. It's been moved by Senator Holland, seconded by Senator Baumgartner. Any discussion? Would this be the appropriate time for your comment?
Yes, ma'am. I will probably be bringing some information to the floor about the debate on the de minimis portion of this bill. But I do want to thank Madam Chair for getting this out and getting this going. We need this. So thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Would you like to offer an amendment now before we?
No, I got to go do my homework and we'll do it on the floor. Thank you.
Y'all heard it here. So all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, committee. We have a couple other bills, and I know we were going to lose one of our members. Thank you, Senator. Committee, I would turn your attention to Senate Bill 46. Eddie, are you online?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Madam Chair, Eddie might be in house tax.
Oh, I bet he is. He had a handout for
Oh,
us.
nope, he's there.
I
He's
am
in the room.
online. I'm trying to do both
All right.
meetings at the same time. But house tax, I'll step away from for a moment and catch back up with it via the YouTube feed.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. Did you hand out the fiscal note, that one sheet that you had prepared for us
Yes, Madam Chair, I distributed that to the committee this morning.
this morning? Okay, great. So we
yeah.
do have it. Okay.
And the one thing that I would especially note on that information that the Department of Revenue provided is that the table in the kind of lower portion of that includes the fiscal note for Senate Bill 46 and also the estimated fiscal impact for excluding from income tax the non-excluded, so to speak, retirement accounts, those that are taxable under current law and are not currently affected by this. So the difference between that and the fiscal note for Senate Bill 46 would be kind of the estimated fiscal impact for those that are not affected by this bill but are taxable presently. I am not hearing the room.
I apologize, Eddie. I'm going to have Amelia do a brief overview, and then I'm going to come back to you and ask for those numbers, for you to read those numbers to us. Would that be okay? Okay, thank you, Eddie. Amelia, do you mind an overview on Senate Bill 46?
Certainly, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 46 relates to income tax, and it would provide a subtraction modification from federal adjusted gross income for certain amounts received from certain retirement plans when determining an individual's Kansas adjusted gross income. Specifically, the bill would amend 7932-117 subsection C to subtract from an individual's federal adjusted gross income the amounts received by retired individuals from employer-sponsored, qualified, or non-qualified retirement plans, including plans created by self-employed individuals, to the extent those amounts are included in federal adjusted gross income. And the provision would begin with tax year 2021.
Thank you, Amelia. And that language, this language is what we had as an amendment on Senate Bill 22. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you. Eddie, I'll come back to you. Could you read those numbers to us?
Sure. The fiscal note for the bill as it stands that was provided by the Division of the Budget indicates that the bill would reduce state revenues by 125.1 million in FY22, 126.3 million in FY23, and 127.6 million in FY24. The information the Department of Revenue has provided is that to exempt the entire remaining amount of taxable income would result in a reduction of receipts of 213.4 million in in tax year 21, fiscal year 22, 215.6 million in fiscal year 23, and $217.7 million in fiscal year 24. So the net of the bill's fiscal note versus that estimate provided by Department of Revenue is the kind of cost of the balance of taxable retirement income.
Thank you, Eddie. And that's what I want to make it clear. It was misstated, the carrier of the motion on the floor. He said that all retirement accounts were included on the amendment, and that is not accurate. The bill does not include all retirement accounts. It does not include IRAs, which are self-directed retirement. So if a company worked for, or if a person worked for a company and had a 401k, they would be allowed to, or they would be exempt from paying income tax on that retirement fund. However, a person that had an IRA or self-directed fund, or even somebody that had a 401k and rolled it into an IRA, would still be obligated to pay income tax with the current bill before us and the amendment that we passed on the floor. So that being said, I have an amendment on the bill. I've handed it out. It would include all retirement funds so that we would not be subjective, and it is the final fiscal note that Eddie read. Correct, Eddie?
I haven't actually seen the language, but it certainly comports with my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Committee, are there any questions on the amendment? And I know this fiscal note's high, but I'll wait till my closing remarks. I will move my amendment. Is there a second on the amendment? It's been moved by Senator Tyson, seconded by Senator Steffen. Discussion on the motion. Any questions, comments? Senator Alley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have said to strike employer-sponsored, and that would, and then, so that's all. Does that include annuities?
Amelia, could you answer that? Or Eddie, either one?
I would like to check with the Department of Revenue on that personally.
Thank you. It is not my understanding that it does, but because annuities do not necessarily include, you can have an annuity that is not retirement.
But if you were,
Right. Senator Alley.
yes, thank you, Madam Chair. But if you were working for a company and you rolled your 401k from the company into an annuity when you left that company, would that qualify? And I think that was my question.
It's a good question. Amelia or Senator Stefan?
Thank you. With the goal being that if it was funded with pre-tax dollars, that it not get taxed afterwards. That's the whole goal, correct? Yeah. Because that status, that's an interesting question, but the status wouldn't have changed once you rolled it over. It's still a pre-tax funded retirement account, but I'm no lawyer.
No, but it's an excellent question. I think we need to find out the answer on that. What we could do is suspend action on this. I hate to do it, but we are under the gun. Eddie, would you mind reaching out to the department while we are working another bill?
I certainly don't mind. It is possible that the department's relevant staff might be in the House Tax Committee meeting that is occurring right now as well. And so I don't know if we'll be able to get a response during this meeting, but we can certainly inquire.
Okay. Committee, would that be receptive to everyone? Just to hold off on the motion until we won't dispose of the motion, we'll come back to it. Okay, committee, so hold tight on Senate Bill 46. We'll pick up on Senate Bill 98 where we left off this morning. And I'm going to pass out. Amelia, would you mind giving us an overview on it?
Yes, Senate Bill 98 relates to property taxation and the burden of proof in district court and the terms of board members of the State Board of Tax Appeals. Specifically, this was the bill that would amend 74-24-26 to provide that when an appeal is submitted to the district court regarding the valuation of residential or commercial real property, or the classification of property, that the county appraiser bears before the district court. The bill would also amend 74-24-33 to extend the time that a board member can continue to serve beyond the expiration of their term. Currently, the statute provides for 90 days, and the bill would amend that to 180 days.
Thank you, Amelia. Committee, any questions? Committee, we still have a quorum, so we're going to continue to do business. What I have handed out, committee, for discussion is an attempt to allow the board, actually it allows the governor to appoint previous board members, former board members, as a temporary or pro tem board member so that we can continue to have activity and not, and maybe even get caught up on some of the cases before the board. I know, Amelia, would you like to touch on that amendment? I don't know that I covered all the detail on it.
Yes, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm here. Yes, the proposed amendment that I believe you handed out would add a subsection H. It's found on page 5 of your handout. This is the statute that provides for the constitution of the Board of Tax Appeals having 3 members plus a chief hearing officer. This proposed subsection would provide that the governor, notwithstanding subsection A, that the governor may appoint a former member of the Board of Tax Appeals to serve as a pro tem member of the board for a period not to exceed 1 year. When, after having exercised due diligence, there still remains more than 1 vacancy on the board. The pro tem member would be able to exercise the powers of a member of the board. That person would serve at the pleasure of the governor, and compensation would be a daily compensation based on a proration of the current annual salary for board members. And the provisions of this subsection would expire on June 30, 2023.
Committee, do you have any questions for Amelia on this amendment? Senator Steffen.
Thank you. Would there be any worth, or is there any need for this amendment to say it may appoint a former member, like in good standing, or?
Suggestion. That's an excellent suggestion, Senator. Amelia, that would be an order, wouldn't it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what was said.
Can you put your mic on?
I can. I can enunciate clearly when required. I inquired as to whether it would have worth to put where it said may appoint a former member in good standing or some qualifier to ensure that we're bringing somebody back on who can do the job in the manner that's required.
Amelia? That would be acceptable, wouldn't it?
If someone would, if a motion is made to adopt the balloon or adopt this proposed language, that could be incorporated with an additional conceptual motion.
Okay, thank you. Senator Alley.
When good Senator Steffen made that comment, I got to thinking about, would they have to pass the test? But I'll withdraw that question.
Thank you, Senator. They took the test. Senator Kirshen, did you have, okay. Senator Steffen.
Thank you. We could craft this in such a way that continuing to be in good standing entails the same qualifications, and good standing means to the qualifications that was originally required for them.
Thank you. They already took the test. Amelia, would that, I'm just wondering if we're putting on, that would be acceptable language, wouldn't it?
It becomes a little more complicated because there's actually within that first subsection A, remember there are 3 board members, one is a CPA, one is an attorney, one
Oh, good point.
is an appraiser, and that kind of those 3, and then the congressional district issue, and so there's a lot of requirements in that subsection A that I believe may not be intended to be necessary to comport with those for this subsection H, for this temporary position. So if you want those provisions to apply to this pro tem member, I think we'll need to flesh that out a little more so that we can get that in the provision.
Senator Steffen. No. Thank you, Amelia, and that's what I was wondering. I think the in good standing would satisfy the requirement that they have completed the exams and they are familiar, because these are experienced board members that we would be bringing back. And I think the in good standing clarifies that they weren't removed or under prosecution or some. So I think that's an excellent suggestion. Committee, any other suggestions or discussion? Okay, I know this limits them to 3. I would just ask the committee, at one point in 2003 and before, they were at 5 members on the board. Would we allow the governor to substitute 1, 2, or 3, X number of members to take them up to, because this could take them up to 3, but I'm wondering, under the circumstances that they're in right now, they need some help. I don't know if the board would even want this, so it may be a bridge too far to allow up to 5. So to allow 2 or 3 appointees at the same time is what I'm asking. Senator Holland.
So my thought, Madam Chair, is why don't we, if we're going to do this, let's
Make it
just
bill.
stick with, no, just stick up to the current number and not exceed the 3.
Okay.
Because then,
Okay. I think this amendment handles up to 3. Amelia? Yes.
Madam Chair, I would agree this incorporates the 3-member concept plus the chief hearing officer. If you were contemplating allowing up to 5, I believe we would need some further amendment to the statute to fully grasp, will they sit as panels of 3 with 2 votes to take an action? Or is it a 5-member panel that you have 3 votes for a final action? So there's a lot more we would need to consider if you went to 5.
Okay, thank you, Amelia. I think we'll leave it as is then. Okay, committee, what are your wishes on the possible amendment? Is anybody interested in the amendment on the bill? Okay, would you like to make the motion to amend with your language?
We can handle it all at one time.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I would like to make a motion that we vote on the amendment with the amendment to the amendment.
Okay, with the language in good standing.
With the
added.
language in good standing, yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Is there a second on the motion? Wonderful. It's been moved by Senator Steffen, seconded by Senator Kluse. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senate Bill 98. Senator Alley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move we move Senate Bill 98 as amended favorably for passage.
Is there a second? Okay. Oh, okay. Senator Kirshen. It's been moved by Senator Alley, seconded by Senator Kirshen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, committee. We'll turn our attention back to Senate Bill 46. Eddie?
I have not heard anything back from the Department of Revenue.
Well, committee, let's move forward and we can deal with it. Thank you.
I
Senator
withdraw my
Alley.
question.
No, don't withdraw the question. Let's just make sure that we get clarification in case it comes above the line.
But
I'm hoping we
at
do.
this time, though, it makes no difference for the
Right.
bill.
Right. Yes. And I know, so we're back on the motion to expand. We have not done any action on this bill. We're on, the original bill is Senate Bill 46. And didn't I move on the motion? And we had a second on it? Yes. Okay. So any discussion on the motion to include, to delete employee sponsored so that we would include all retirement plans? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Committee, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Alley. Thank you. Is there a second on the motion? Yes?
Oh, I'm not sure Senator Alley's microphone is on.
Oh,
I
would
didn't
you
hear the
turn your
motion.
mic?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you. No, that's fine. We will restate the motion. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. I move that we move Senate Bills 46 out favorably for passage as amended.
It's been moved by Senator Kirshen, or by Senator Alley, seconded by Senator Kirshen. Any discussion on the motion? I will state that I understand the fiscal note on this is a little high, but we did pass the original bill 46 across the Senate floor. And I would bring to your attention that revenues were up 175 million to date. And so we do have money that we could possibly do something like this to help the seniors in Kansas. We're one of the top 5 in the nation for taxing our seniors out of the state. Would you like to close on your motion, or? No, to move it out. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. Motion carries. The bills committee. Committee, I think 46, 72. Amelia, do you mind giving an overview on 72?
Certainly, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Senate Bill 72 relates to property tax and would amend qualifications of the county appraiser. And it would also require that appraisal courses for members of the Board of Tax Appeals and county appraisers to be courses approved by the Kansas Real Estate Appraisal Board. Relating to qualifications of county appraisers, the bill amends KSA 19430 to remove the designations by the International Association of Assessing Officers from the certification qualifications that allows a person to be appointed to the office of county or district appraiser. And then the bill also amends 19432 and 742433 relating to county appraisers and board members relating to the requirement that their courses be approved by the Kansas Real Estate Appraisal Board.
Thank you, Amelia. Committee, any questions for Amelia? Seeing none, what are your wishes on the bill? Senator Alley? Oh, okay. Okay. Any discussion or comments on the bill? I'll make a motion to move the bill out of committee favorably. Is there a second on the motion? Okay, it's been moved by Senator Tyson, seconded by Senator Kirshen. Discussion on the motion. Senator Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try to be pithy. I had concerns about this bill before, and given the statements that Mr. Stafford released prior to the discussion of the Marks nomination, I think he has major conflicts of interest. My sense is that I think there's a relationship between him and one of the attorneys, and I think this bill is being promoted to discredit the IAAO, so that basically the chamber attorneys defending their big box clients can point to this and say you shouldn't take IAAO into consideration. So I'll be voting strongly against this, and I want to be noted as a no, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on the bill? I would comment, one of my concerns that we do as a state is we tend to form these or join these national organizations, and they have the final say as to what we do. I'm all for local control, and that includes state control instead of national organizations. So any other comments or discussion on the bill? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay? No. Yes, thank you. The motion carries. Senator Holland would like to be recorded as a no. So committee, I will bring your attention to, we did have a hearing on Senate Bill 87. We do need some more information. And part of that information was the informational hearing that we were going to have, and we ran out of time with Eddie and Amy. So I will be bringing them back after turnaround, and we'll continue that discussion on 87. Committee, we have several property tax bills. I know a couple of them are Senator Holland's. We will also be picking those up after turnaround. Did you? Oh. Okay, great. I'm pretty much done with that. I want to thank you guys for all your work. I want to thank Amelia and Eddie and Michael and Pam and the IT staff, everyone for all their work. You've been very diligent, very professional. And we couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it without you. So Senator Kirshen. Yeah, thank you, Senator. I think what we've talked about is possibly, and we'll look at this closer, that's why I want to take a different look at it, is any elections going forward. That way we wouldn't impact any prior elections, except for one county. We would dissolve their current agreement. And I think this situation would go away if that were to occur. So, but any comments on that? I think that might be more acceptable to everyone. We're not going to decide on that today. Senator Ali.
Madam Chair, I thought both the parties in that had agreed to at least get together, and they thought it was workable.
They did, and they agreed that an election would be in order. And so that's why we want to do more research, make sure that that's the way we go, because we would dissolve their current relationship, and then if it's a county-wide election for sales tax, it would go to the county in the future. We would not rock or disturb any current relationships. That would be the goal. I think everybody, is that Senator Kirshen kind of deal with? Yes. Right. We do not have a solution. That's why we're not working that bill today. Yep. So we will continue to look for a solution and continue the conversation. Senator, is there any other business to be brought before the committee? Again, you guys, yes?
I just wanted to advise the committee, I did just get a response from the Department of Revenue on that question. And the response was that, yes, that amendment is the $213.4 million fiscal note that they provided. And then with regards to rolling a 401k account into an annuity, the answer is yes, as long as that is considered taxable retirement income by the IRS at the federal level.
So we are covered under the annuity question then?
To the extent that it is taxable income at the federal level, taxable retirement income at the federal level, yes.
Okay. But was that included or excluded in their fiscal note?
Their fiscal note was the balance of the taxable retirement income from the federal level that comes on to Kansas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eddie.
Yes.
Thank you again, everyone, for your work. We will see you after turnaround. Have a good break.